Let's go back to 1999, to me listening to my car radio. A voice came on that had such an impact that I was never the same. Just 2 hours of listening in my car. I was astonished by the information I was hearing about the gifts given to the world by people in the Western Hemisphere. But just as important, I was astonished by my own ignorance. I had trusted this Western educational system. So how come I didn't know everything I needed to know to have a clear view of the world? The most shocking part was that I had thought I was prepared. I thought I was wired and ready to go. The man behind that voice was Ray Fadden. It had been recorded back in 1975 at his Six Nations Indian Museum in Onchiata, New York. Over the years, I practically memorized the words on that recording. What was Ray's message? That we've misunderstood so much. As time went by, I got more and more into my subject. I considered this. What if European settlers and Indians were peers and co-equals, but then everybody forgot? I studied, read, and learned, and did extensive research. The world had changed for me. I couldn't stand that we had misunderstood for such a long time. What my parents were taught bothered me. What I was taught bothered me. What kids are learning today bothers me. It hasn't changed much. Then one day I couldn't stand it any longer. I had to do something about it myself. We continue to hide this fascinating information and make it invisible. Instead, we could be deconstructing the lies and creating truth.
I wouldn't say they didn't notice race. They didn't notice it the way we do today. And I think our race issue that we focus on today, I think really is an outgrowth of class.
We Westerners are racked with guilt every time we hear something in the news about Indigenous, past and present. Instead, we could be free. And one of the ways we can be free is to dispel the myths and dispel the guilt.
When peoples met each other, they tended to associate by class. And for instance, it was very common for the nobility to want to marry into the nobility of the other culture that they were meeting up with.
What I do now in my professional speaking career, I dispel the myths of 1492. I inspire by retelling actual histories, so my audiences realize that all European settlers and Indians were peers and co-equals.
They lived together. They contributed back and forth with each other, but the information got forgotten. And it wasn't just a coincidence, too. It was partly that was done on purpose as well.
Well, these real-life events are compelling. Europeans with poor health, poor diet, disease, and no bathing. Western Hemisphere, healthy and eating well. First democracy, a 700-year-old road system with 250,000 kilometers of stone roadway. Gifts of 75% of our world's foods. Genesis of women's rights, hundreds of pyramids. They had large populations and all the land was taken already. Bigger cities than Europe, concepts of freedom and liberty. There's hundreds of these well-documented accounts. Because little of this is on our radar, I can get people to look at their own day today and recognize the extraordinary number of Indian gifts to the world. We love our way of life. So my listeners are challenged to go out and recast some worldviews and attitudes. Audience members experience their own personal truth and reconciliation. I'm really moved when someone tells me they changed their outlook or when they tell me they're excited to share some of these details with others. I'm hoping you'll help. I want to reach as many people with my message and dispel the myths of 1492. I invite you to dive into this exciting topic with me.